Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the recap and review of NCIS Season 10 Episode 17, Prime Suspect. My opinions on this episode keep changing. I certainly did not dislike the episode, but before I go any further, let us officially go into the recap and review. I feel like this was the ultimate filler episode. They didn't go by the typical A and B plot structure. They went sort of by A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They just tried to go everywhere at once. It was like, hey, there's a case. Wait, Gibbs' backstory. Here, meet Abby's friend. Uh-oh, jealous McGee. Oh, Tony's in the Bahamas. Hey, look, Dornigat still exists. Who is that detective? Why is he so creepy? Ziva's Israeli, and that's suddenly really important. Remember, Vance's wife is still dead. Apparently, Kayla has a science project. Don't we still have a case going on? Well, I don't know. Here's Gibbs' father. Since this episode did not have a typical plot structure, I'm not going to go by my typical review of just summarizing the episode. I'm going to analyze each plot point and review each one. First, the case. I did not dislike the case, I just thought it was a little peculiar. I love when Gibbs bends the rules because he's Gibbs, but I thought this time it was a little strange because we just met this barber, and I understand that this was supposed to be an important person in Gibbs's life because they've known each other for a while, and I guess they're close because Gibbs knew all about the mother's death, but I thought it was a little soon for him to just be like, I'll certainly go under the table and get all this information for you. I guess you could argue the same thing with Shannon's mom and the guy with post-traumatic stress disorder, but I feel like he had more of a connection with those two. Like, Shannon's mom was the love of his life's mother, his daughter's grandmother. The guy with PTSD, he kind of connected with him on that military level. This guy cut his hair. It's a good haircut. It's a good haircut. I just don't think it's worth going against the US federal government systems. And we have seen a lot of Gibbs going out on a ledge for someone, and I love it as long as it's appropriate, and I just did not feel like this had enough oomph, enough backstory behind it to support what he was doing. So I liked the case, but I thought it was a little odd. Plot B! Ziva is not Ziva. I remember I said a few episodes back, I did not know if she was okay or not. She is definitely not okay. Ziva was 100% off of her game this episode. And I feel like it's gearing us up for something big in the finale, like some kind of breakdown or kidnapping, and it makes me really excited, not because I want to see Ziva being kidnapped, but I feel like it's going to be really epic. But she was just not, she did not notice that that guy was gathering information from her desk, and she didn't catch on to her mistake when Gibbs was talking to the detective on the phone. Another thing that was very unlike Ziva was she was undercover and the guy walked away from her at the bar, so she was very off of her game. I don't know if it was just because the guy was, really into finding this girl, but I feel like that was supposed to symbolize Ziva is not at the top of her game. When that guy touched the flag, that made me angry. That was below the belt. I don't think he intended to have that much of an impact. Like, I don't think he knew the flag was given her by her father, but it was, and he was touching it, and I felt violated watching it. I'm like, you, sir, are a dimwit. And he just touching her stuff, and he was just everywhere, and he was so obviously using her. Usually Ziva's very quick to notice things, and this time, she just kind of let it go by her. She was distracted by him touching the flag, which was given to her by her father, which is very understandable. So I feel like we're definitely gearing up to some breakdown or some very life-changing thing happening in the finale for Ziva, and I am so psyched because how many episodes do we have after this? I don't think it's many. We have 18, 19, 20, I don't know how many we have in the 20s, but I think we have 6. I remember seeing 6 somewhere. That is not a lot because we're in March and it ends in May, so wow. Plot C, Abby and friends. Who was that man that Abby brought in? I was so ready for him to be the bad guy. As soon as he walked on screen, I'm like, you are definitely the bad guy, sir. And he wasn't, which made me confused because I wanted to know why his existence was necessary. Sure, he's a lovely fellow, but I did not see the need for him to be present in this situation. I guess he was there to help out the case, but I feel like they could have worked in something with Abby on her own. I guess it was another one of those things that was just added in to lighten up the episode, which I like, but I wish he would have had slightly more purpose. But I feel like he may have had an alternative purpose, which is a meaningful one, and that was to make McGee jealous. When Ziva referred to that man as Abby's boyfriend, McGee snapped. He's like, that's not her boyfriend. And McGee got sassy because McGee hearts Abby. Maybe not at the same speed Ziva is moving, but I feel like they're taking some baby steps of their own. Maybe not baby steps, maybe like infantry crawls, if you will, when like the babies like pull themselves across the floor. I feel like that's what they're doing right now. With that weird metaphor simile thing, let's move on. D. Vance. I love what they're doing because Vance and Ziva both lost someone very important. They're dealing with it in very different ways. Ziva did go off to Israel and Vance did have Jackie's funeral. But Vance is taking time off. Vance is mourning. Vance is spending time with his children, and he's really evaluating the situation, and he's not burying it the way Ziva is. Ziva went back to work. She's trying to get back into her normal life much quicker than Vance did. But she has all these problems that are eating away at her, and it's starting to come out and affect her work and affect big parts of her life. I love that they have the two at the opposite ends of the spectrum. I can't wait to see where that takes us. But anyway, Vance in this episode was just that Abby kind of freaks him out with her big heart. As soon as he saw Abby, he was running for the hills. And poor Abby just wants to help so bad. She can't. She's trying, but he's not letting her in. And so eventually he does, and they hug, which was so sweet. I love it, I love it, I love it. Originally, I didn't understand the purpose of it, but now I'm starting to understand, or what I'm thinking it is to show how Vance is recovering and how Ziva is recovering and where that's going to lead them. To give Vance a storyline and then to give Ziva her own. And I feel like it's going to add up in the finale, and I cannot wait. You guys, I'm so pumped. Also, Kayla has a science project, and I thought it was sweet that he's getting the team members to help out with his kids. Plot E. Gibbs' father. I'm confused. I like that they have Gibbs' father in there. And, you know, I like that they're establishing that they do have a relationship again. They're working on it. They're building it up. But it makes me scared. Because usually when they begin to emphasize a character's existence, they begin to die. We've already lost two major recurring characters, if that makes sense. Characters that have much significance on the main characters. I would very sincerely hope that we do not lose Papa Gibbs. That's crossing the line of the crossed line that has already been crossed. That's going way too far. So I hope we do not get there. I guess it was just one of those episodes to show that, hey, Gibbs and his father are still tight. Just reminding you, isn't that nice? Oh, don't remember how sad this whole story arc is with Ziva and Vance. I think that was the significance. And I feel like this is like the 5th episode we've had where the episode ends and he's on the phone with his father. So I'm eager to see what happens in these conversations. Maybe that's in the finale. I would love that. F. Tony in the Bahamas with Dornigat. It was cool, but I didn't consider it that big of a thing. I thought it had some funny moments, but I thought it was nice that they showed Dornigat still exists. I love Dornigat with all my heart. And Denozo is always a fabulous character, especially when he's put in an atmosphere like this. It's just fantastic. I liked it. I did. I thought it was nice that we got to see Tony call the team members. I don't have much else to say on the subject. It's just kind of there. Plot G. Gibbs' basement. What is he building? What is that? I love that they're making this a whole plot line of its own. Every episode we're getting a piece and a piece, and it's like just building up. They're giving us this puzzle to put together, and I am excited. Someone get Sherlock on the case because I want to see what this puzzle is. I cannot wait to see what he's building. I don't know if it's going to be in the finale or when in the world we're going to see what exactly this thing is, but I am psyched. Just leave me some of your theories in the comments. What do you think he's building? And plus, if you got this far into the video, I love you, because I feel like this is going to be a long video. Overall, I did like the episode. It will probably not make my list of favorites, but I thought it was a nice episode. And I can't wait for next week when the hiatus is over. Woo! With that, I will see you guys for the next Spoilers and Theories video.